Hello, I'm Assad Khalilzadeh. Welcome to Inside City Sports, an interview show produced by the students of San Diego City College. Each week, we are talking to the newsmakers of the campus. Today, we are going to talk to Jonathan Ogugua, a point guard from the City College's men's basketball team. But first, we'll give a quick intro to the Knights and their star playmaker. Let's take a look.
The season for the San Diego City College men's basketball team began in early November, and so far, they're off to a great start. But the past year and a half has presented some new challenges to these players, and it wasn't just the pandemic. Longtime head coach Mitch Charlins left to take a job at USD, but now back in the gym and competing, the team is ready for a new beginning. The Knights have found themselves under the leadership of interim head coach Andy Ground, and even with the winning tradition, this team has an underdog's mentality. They have something to prove. Leading the Knights this year is their starting point guard, Jonathan Ogugua, coming all the way from Houston, Texas. He is the primary playmaker for a City team ready to continue the Knights' legacy. For CTTV, I'm Jillian Fortner.
Hi, Jonathan. We are very excited to be speaking with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course. You are the starting point guard of the Knights basketball team. What do you view as your strengths as a player, and also what makes you as good as you are?
I would say my decision making and just knowing when to shoot the ball and just when to pass it at the right time.
Mm-hmm. And I would assume that as a point guard, that's a very important trait, because you're the one with the ball constantly in your hands. So I guess when you're in that moment, when you're trying to make that decision, who are some of your favorite targets, your favorite teammates that you can give the ball to and you know that will make the right decision?
I mean, we got a lot of different guys that can score. So, I mean, really, I'm comfortable giving the ball to whoever on my team, really, because I feel like we're just that good to where we all could just make it happen. So it's not really a specific teammate. I mean, I feel like all of our guys can go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's a really good trait to have in a team, a lot of people who can score the ball. So your guys' basketball season is split up and separated into three separate parts, the preseason, conference play, and the postseason. As someone who is not a native Californian, who are you hearing is your biggest competition in the state, and why?
The top three teams that I've been hearing since I've been out here are Fullerton, East LA, and San Francisco City College.
Nice. So I guess you made a good choice coming out here. Narrowing it down to Southern California, same question. Who is your competition locally, and what teams are you maybe not most worried about, but maybe a little anxious to play?
Locally, I would say Mesa. Mesa would definitely be one of the top schools. Miramar, so far, is the only loss that we have on our record, so I really can't wait to play them. And then probably Palomar for the last team in the conference.
Okay, cool. Coach Mitch Charlins has moved on to USD during the offseason. What impact did that have on the team, and I guess how did the team react over this past offseason?
When Coach Mitch got the job at USD, it was shocking, but I mean it was the best move for him. So I mean we all understood that, and we all still wanted to play together. So we all decided to stay at City.
Mm-hmm. And for this season, you have an interim head coach, Andy Ground. How has the dynamic been between Andy and the team? What are some of the adjustments that the team has had to make?
I would say probably just still trying to figure it out. I mean, it's still pretty early in the season, so we're all still trying to figure it out. But the job that Coach Ground came in and he's doing is perfect. I mean, it's not really much more I could ask. He's a good coach.
Mm-hmm. I guess, what do you like about Coach Brown? You know, you said he's done a really good job. Like, maybe what are some of the things that he's done to make you and the other players on the roster more comfortable?
I mean, his coaching style. I mean, just he's savvy. He knows a lot. I mean, he has the resume that speaks, and he actually does. I mean, you know, it's basketball, so I mean, it speaks for itself. His work.
Hmm. Yeah. And when we look at the roster, what is really unique for a community college is that we see that there are players from up and down California and even out of state. What is the team chemistry like with, I guess, 5 players coming from out of state?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we all coming from different places, and the journey for everybody is really crazy. So I mean, we can all come together and talk about it and relate to certain things that we not, and just have that dialogue. But yeah, man, it's good, man. We're enjoying it.
Hmm. Yeah, and City College won the state championship in 2017 and has a winning legacy, but you had said in the past that this team has more of an underdog mentality. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I mean, we've all had our rough patches in our path, so we all feel like we have a lot to prove, and we just feel like we want more than what we can get.
Hmm. Well, don't go anywhere just yet. We will be right back after the break with more Jonathan Ogugua.
Dear Santa, I've been a good girl all year. I could make my list a mile long.
Each Christmas morning, children wake up to the hope that their Christmas wishes have come true, that Santa has answered their letter. For some kids, that dream may not come true without your help.
But this Christmas, I really want to do something special.
This year, join the Marine Corps in donating a new unwrapped toy to Toys for Tots.
I knew he'd come.
Every child deserves a little Christmas.
I, Kristen, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
Welcome back to Inside City. We are back with our guest, Jonathan Ogugua. And so, Jonathan, we had mentioned earlier that you are not a native Californian. What was it like growing up in Houston, Texas, and what are your earliest basketball memories?
Growing up in Houston, Texas it was tough, but it really, you know what I mean, you just make good with what you got, and I just feel like that's what I'm trying to do. So, I mean, it wasn't too bad, and then growing up early, I was playing football early on, so I really didn't start playing basketball until I got to high school and started trying to take it serious, but early on, football was my main sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as a Californian, we normally associate Texas with, like you said, football, Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
I guess, what made you choose basketball in the end over football?
I don't know. I just felt like I had like a way more passion for basketball versus for what I did football. I still love football, but I just love playing basketball more, honestly.
Yeah, I guess you got to go where your passion is. As a high school athlete, tell us about when you realized you wanted to play in the college level.
I wanted to play at a Division I, but I didn't have the grades to do so. So I had to go to junior college. So, I mean, it's still a blessing to play in junior college as well. But, coming out of high school, that wasn't a plan.
Mm-hmm. And you had gone to Butler College in Kansas. How did you end up in Kansas from Texas? What was that move like for you? Was it completely different change of scenery?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, it was snowing, it was cold, I mean, it was just, it's, you know, you're all the way out the way. It's not too many things to do in a town like that. But, you know, it was good, man. It was a good experience for me. You know what I mean? And it was a good season, you know.
Hmm. So I guess besides the weather, like you said, it was snowing and it was cold. What made you choose to leave Kansas and come here to City College in San Diego?
I mean, San Diego speaks for itself, honestly. Like, it's either San Diego or, you know, Kansas. Like, it's an easy pick whenever we're talking about the weather.
Hmm. I guess maybe what drew you to San Diego basketball wise?
Oh, the assistant coach at City, Coach Don, he's been recruiting me since high school. So the relationship that we had and the communication that we had on me coming out here, we've already, you know what I mean, we already settled that.
Hmm. Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, you came to City College smack in the middle of the pandemic. And hilariously, we've seen some viral videos of athletes being creative to stay in shape, you know, doing some kind of weird things. But tell us what you did over the pandemic, you know, to stay in shape during all the craziness of the lockdown.
I mean, during the lockdown, there weren't really too many gyms open, but I was fortunate enough to have a gym, so I just kind of made most of my opportunity, and I just kept working out every day during the pandemic. So inevitably, over time, the work is just going to pay off for itself.
Hmm. So now a year later, you came in fall of 2020. We're now in fall of 2021. You returned to campus to compete in basketball, but also to juggle school. Can you talk a
Right.
little bit to us about how you manage your time between basketball and school?
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is, honestly, is just managing your time, just getting a section out of the day in a couple of hours and just dedicate it to your schoolwork. And I have a couple of hours dedicated to my basketball work and the extra things that I do on the side as far as my conditioning and skill work.
Hmm. And just, you know, your play speaks for itself. You've been doing a pretty good job. Where do you see yourself next year? Do you see yourself still here?
No, sir. Next year I'll be at a Division I university.
Hmm. Do you mind sharing with us, or have you not made that decision just yet?
Nah, not yet.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time so much. That is all that we have for tonight on this edition of Inside City Sports. Remember to follow us at SD City Times on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.